Hi, welcome back to Talking Dance Moves. This is April. I have some special guests here. I have Kyle to my left and Kim to my left.
Hi.
And then also in Concrete, or what? It's Krishana, but their nicknames I'm going to turn down my. Wait a minute here. Wait a minute. Hold on. I don't know which one is going live. There we go. Okay. There we go. That was echoing there for a second. So we wanted to bring them on today so they can give us a little bit of knowledge on the upcoming events that they have going on. But I do want to do a quick shout out real quick to Lorilla Cosmetics, who donated some lip glosses, some lippies to our dancers. And also, so that was one of our shout outs. So who wants to go first and tell us?
Yeah.
All right, so I got to catch it. But I'm Kyle Hollins. I'm the founder of Lyrics Institution and Exile Promotions and Consulting, and we're putting on a stage play called "Love Is Not a Feeling, It's a Choice." We have a 6-month campaign to raise $50,000 for our program, which we're trying to bring to Kansas City. One of the great parts about it is all the people that are getting involved with this, people that are, donating not only their resources, but also their time. And I really want to give credence to those type of people. I got Kim Newsom here with Kimbo Productions and Kimology. That's a big deal. She's actually helping us with this campaign, and she put a play on. Well, she inspired this whole thing called Love Is Not a Feeling, It's a Choice.
Yeah.
And I'm going to let her tell her little spiel about it.
Yeah, so I definitely am a follower, I guess, of Kyle. I don't want to say follower. That seems kind of creepy. No.
Right? It does. Wait a minute.
No. But I'm definitely on board with his vision as far as the Lyrics Institution and all it stands for. And so I just thought it would be really cool if we put on this stage play. Love is not a feeling, it's a choice. I feel like we're going to say that a bunch of times, but
today, right?
But no. So we created this. All the proceeds are going to go to the Lyrics Institution, and I'm excited. It's been great so far. We've started rehearsals. The actors and actresses are doing a marvelous job, and so we're just trying to get the word out.
Are you guys still looking for actors for your?
We are not. We are. It's sealed in. We're
Nice.
good to go. Yeah.
Nice. A little bit more, Kyle, about
the program. So the Lyrics Institution is a cognitive behavior-based program with a chance to master in the creative arts. And kind of the gist of what we do is, just to give you a brief example, if a child or a young adult experience major trauma in some form in their life, whether it's domestic violence, whether it's being touched, whether it's anything like that, what we tend to do is we create solutions at that young age to deal with that type of trauma and headspace. And then what we do is we turn around and become 30, 40 years old, still applying those same solutions, but they don't really work because when you're an adult, you got bigger issues, bigger struggles, things that are going on, jobs, such and such. And really what we want to do is we want to offer more tools as you grow as a young adult to kind of combat those things besides, just smoking weed or, just ignoring a problem or what we tend to do as black families, we don't really talk about struggles and stuff that goes on in our homes.
Right.
So
I think that's not just that's a Hispanic thing too.
It's a Hispanic,
man.
Oh yes, like
Yeah.
when I was younger, we didn't get a chance to talk about. So we didn't talk. We weren't taught about sex. We didn't talk about being on our periods. I learned all that in school.
Wow.
Right.
You know what I mean? So our parents were like, they didn't talk about that. Being a young girl, I had to learn from school and from friends and stuff like that. So that is a really good program because it teaches us to talk our problems out. Like these young ladies I think they're like my second children now. They're with me all the time, and not just through dance, but in this little, field. We're teaching them how to communicate, to talk in public, because when you go to a competition or to a red carpet, you have to know how to talk. You have to know how to, engage and look at the cameras and, just different things. But being that they're at that awkward stage, right now. You know, they're very shy. As you know, Armani was kind of struggling to answer your guys' questions, you know, but that's just because she's learning to open up and be able to.
Right.
So your program would actually probably, you know, help them out.
Yeah, it'll increase communication, but the space in one's life to feel like they can be open, and having people positioned in their lives that they can actually trust and kind of give some of that real life stuff up. Because the thing is, you can't fix what you don't know. You know what I mean? Or what you don't think is an issue or a struggle. If you're going around thinking that, you know, this poverty that we live in is a normal thing, then it's always going to be taboo to think that, you know what I mean, maybe I can get out of it. Because then you kind of create this atmosphere of this is just life, you know. And it's not, one major part is taking them out of the environment. But sometimes that's not the solution. We need to teach kids how to live inside the environment which they live in. They live here, they grow here, they learn here. Why? This is our home, you know what I mean? So let's make it, you know what I mean, an environment in which, you know, we could be successful in. And that's what the Lyrics program really wants to do. So we also allow them to master in the creative arts. So what we do is, like, we partner with people like you with the Dance Explosion, right? For the dance aspect of it. We got the drama aspect of it. We have photography, and I mean, the list just goes on and on when it comes to the creative arts, sculpting, recording engineering, you know. So what the heart of it is we believe in Lyrics that you have to create an environment for what you're teaching to be solidified. That's really, really important, because I could tell you something all day, but if it ain't hitting home, if it ain't gonna, if I'm not seeing it, then it's not a reality. It's just something that you're talking about. So what we do is we send them through the actual class work, and then we create an event. Well, and then we send them to the respected master in the creative arts of their choice, and then we create an event to where every component of the program has to work together. So there's going to be conflict, there's going to be issues. So then they get to work on their communication, their emotional intelligence, their anger management, the solitude, loneliness model. There's just so many things that are connected to the curriculum of it that they have to work out. So then after the program is, or the event is over, what they have to do is they actually have to do a diagnostics of the situations and things that went on. No, Sally didn't do what I asked her to do. I ran into her. She doesn't work well with others. So how do you actually deal with those situations? You know what I mean?
And that's a good program for them. That's going to create a lot more kids staying out of trouble, out of jail, off the streets. I mean, we live in a world nowadays where the streets are not safe. School is not safe. My cousin's son was one of the ones injured in the school shooting in California. I mean, nowadays, it's how do you teach your kid at a young age? Like, we're teaching my granddaughter what to do if somebody comes into her school, you know, and that's something that back in the day we didn't ever have to talk about, you know, and now we have to teach them, like, where you go if you know that you're going to be hurt, you know, and that's sad. But it's part of our life nowadays, you know. So with these programs, I think they should be everywhere, not just in Kansas City, everywhere. So that way kids that are the shooter, I'm not saying he's 100% right, but if he was in some type of program like what you have, I don't think that would have ever happened.
And that's really the heart of it, though. Like, so I remember, so my story is tragic, but it's still a written book being written. And you know, I've been shot, I've been stabbed, I've been in federal custody before, like everything underneath the sun. And I was even talking to the actors today about this very thing. I know I said in front of my probation officer, I got caught with a AK-47 in the car. And he asked me where I was going. I was like, well, we're going to an after hours. He's like, so you're going to go have fun at a place where you could potentially be killed at. And it didn't hit home. You know what I mean? I'm like, man, whatever, man. Like, this is Kansas City. This is the way it is. And he's like, okay, so does your mom carry a gun? I'm like, nah, she doesn't live that life. And then it was like those reality moments, even though I didn't take it in at that time, it made me realize, like, my thought process was skewed.
A little bit.
You know, a little bit, a lot of it. Like, in the analogy that he gave me, he's like, who goes into a bank that's already getting robbed? That's kind of innately what we're doing. We've been spending so much time surviving that we've actually thought, we come to the conclusion that we're living in a survival state. But we believe we're living, though, you know. And whenever you're living at that type of high stress level, you're not really being able to accomplish, long-term goals. I can't think about 5 years from now. I need to figure out how I'm going to eat today.
Yeah.
I need to figure out how my little brothers are going to eat, or I got to figure out how I'm going to get through the day without my mind, being triggered on the trauma that I went through. How do I deal with that trauma? Well, I'm going to smoke my issues away. You know what I mean? And then now you got a habit that's costly. You know what I mean? I remember smoking, back in the day. I remember doing stuff.
Yes,
and
that's the reality of it is everybody that you can get your hands on all this stuff.
Yeah, it's right at your fingertips.
Exactly, but we have to teach our young people that's not a way out.
Exactly.
That's only burying what you're feeling.
That's just surviving.
Yeah.
It's getting through the day.
And that's just not going to work. That's just like drinking yourself, until you fall asleep, but then you have a hangover the next morning.
Exactly.
And that's just not
Temporary
the way
solution.
it's not going to, you're going to wake up to the same problem. And that's why my program does the same thing with these guys. Just like yours, it teaches them how to deal with a lot of their problems. It's just not about dance.
Exactly.
And that's what I love so much about this whole movement, because Kyle kind of provoked the question, is love a feeling or is it a choice? And so we just thought it would be cool to just kind of...
And that's why I wanted to bring these two young ladies in with me today, because they're going to be experiencing the same things now that you guys, So that's why they're asking, like, what does it really mean? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Right.
Because sometimes their parents work a lot, Some of them only have one-parent households, so they don't see that. So what is it? I'm team choice, so I kind of like, she said, oh, wow.
I don't know what I am. Did you know that?
Yeah. This conversation plenty of times.
I don't know.
She's confused, people.
Tuesday she's feeling, Wednesday she's choice.
I think it starts with a feeling and then you make that choice. So I guess, ultimately, I'm choice. I'm both.
So where does it come from? Like, you have good reasons why. I'm team choice, and I'm sold out on team choice. But you have good reasons. Listen, let me tell you.
See, they haven't experienced that stuff yet.
Yeah.
No, they have. They just haven't experienced it in a relationship, and that's where I think the big flaw comes from.
No, because these girls, I hear them on an everyday basis and what they're doing. They think I don't hear them.
What y'all be talking about?
I hear them talking to
Look,
boys.
She's looking away. She's looking away.
She said, and a lot, and they had a sleepover the other day, and it was brought to my attention. Some of the little girls were on the phone with the boys, and
what were they saying? What do they be saying nowadays?
Nowadays,
I was a hot
drippy.
mess.
As I say, I'm drippy.
I don't know, but I'm
Look,
scared.
they look at me like, no, we don't.
What were they saying? Okay, what were they saying?
Don't say no names.
Don't say the names. What were they saying? What was the conversation? I really want to know what the youth talk about. What they talk about nowadays.
A little bit what they were talking.
Because I was a hot mess.
Back in the day.
How old are you, sweetheart? 14. Child.
And you?
11.
I was a mess. I was.
See, I wasn't thinking about that. I had very strict parents, and it was all about dance.
See, I had strict parents. They weren't strict, like I couldn't go nowhere, but because of that, I was like, okay.
No, if there was boys outside, we literally, girls would have to come inside. Our brothers and everybody, the boys could go outside and play, and us girls would be shoved in the house. You know what I mean? And that's just the way it was.
I ain't gonna say what I did.
So now my sisters and stuff were sneaking out the house, and my mom and them had to start nailing their stuff on, their screens and stuff. And it was like, well, if you would have talked to us about some of this stuff, maybe then we wouldn't have been so curious, and maybe then, I don't want, like I tell my kids, I'm so glad, knock on wood, because I got one 17-year-old, and I'm almost done. My boy, I was the single mom at 15. Didn't want my kids to be teenage moms, and thank God they were all 21 when they had their kids. And that's what I don't want for them, because it is a struggle. It is trying to, feed your kids and house your kids at such a young age, and I'm pretty sure my parents were like, if you had a baby, we ain't babysitting. And if so, you're going to pay me. Like,
right.
Real.
I've heard
exactly.
that. Well, I want to know what you guys think about love. Like, what do you think love is?
You don't think nothing? Well, you have to have a feeling.
Sometimes I feel that way too.
Yeah, exactly.
It's nothing.
What do you think love is?
I don't know.
You don't know?
You listen. Y'all better come on.
I know, right?
I know
when
y'all.
you care for something, it doesn't have to be a boy. Love can be
right. Yeah.
something. You can love something so much. You can love your mom. You can love your brothers and your sisters. You can love an item. Me right now, my love is not saying nothing about my son, because I love my son to death. But my love right now is dance. and that helps me go through my problems, and it's therapeutic for me.
Right.
Teaching these guys, if I would, and I've told you this before,
That sounds like love is a feeling to you.
it's not a feeling, it's my choice, because I choose to go out and I choose to teach and to pursue my passions. So that's my choice. Okay,
Got it.
now they've actually saved me, whether they believe it or not, or if they know it or not. Because with my son being injured, my grandson passing away, if none of that, if I wasn't teaching and I wasn't dancing, I would have totally lost it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So that's what I'm saying. That's my love at this point in time. Even though I love my kids and, you know, stuff like that, dance is what is my therapy.
Yeah. Our gifts keep us alive, honestly. Like, without it, I don't know.
Even though they do get on my nerves sometimes, and I just was like, I told her earlier, I said, I'm going to step on these brakes, girl.
Oh, no.
Better put your seatbelt on, because there's crazy drivers out there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We saw a crazy homeless guy just a few minutes ago, and I was going to give him $1 or $2, but he's eating right there, but then he sees us cars coming, so he throws his food in the middle of the street. Wow. But you on the street asking for some money. So, like, why would you throw your food away? Like, I just don't get it.
Maybe he was angry.
I don't know. He was angry.
I don't know.
But see, that's perspective. All right, so look, check it out. Reason I feel like love is a choice is because I think I'm still called, even though he threw his food out, I'm still called to give him more food. Let me tell you why. It sounds stupid. It sounds stupid.
Even they laugh.
I didn't even say that.
Let me tell you why. Right? So let's broaden it out. So I went to prison, right? And you know what everybody's comment was? You chose that life, right? This is your consequence. Don't stress me out about it. Don't do nothing. But that's not family. Family doesn't point out the hole. They fill in the gap. So what if I'm outside in the streets cold? You know what I mean? Give me a coat. You know what I mean? I might be doing something stupid or something that's not what you think is politically correct, but still until I'm still in need. You know what I mean? So sometimes what we expect is.
I have a comment to that because, yeah.
Okay, let me finish my dissertation.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Let's finish my dissertation.
You said dissertation.
So,
I know, right?
Well, you know what I mean.
The whole dissertation. Go ahead, Kyle.
Words, right? Words.
Words.
Words make us. Okay, so what I'm saying is, even though we don't know, you know what I'm saying, the outcome, because you know the funny part is when you're down, all the people that say you put yourself in there are the same people that were spending your money. You know what I'm saying? So let's just get to that point. But,
Wow.
But true, these are facts.
Yeah.
But when it comes to, we put expectations on what our gift is supposed to do in another person's life instead of just giving the gift to the person in their life. Because what we fail to realize is a person lashing out isn't necessarily them lashing out because we own people's actions. They lashed out, so they disrespecting me, or they don't feel, you know what I mean, they don't love me or whatever. You know what I'm saying? When in actuality, sometimes a person lashing out is a scream for I need help. You know what I mean? Or my mind ain't right, or I'm schizophrenic, or I'm bipolar. You never know what a person's issue is. You know what I'm saying? And what's worse is you have a person that has food in their hand, throw their food so you can give them some money to get something else. Think about the condition of their mind. They will never leave poverty with that mind state. So really, they're more detrimental. They're more messed up detrimentally because of their thought process than you actually giving them the money, them throwing the food. So it's all in perspective, and that's what love. See, I'm as a Christian, as a practicing Christian, and that's a big thing. That's a difference.
Okay.
As a practicing Christian,
Okay.
yeah, as a practicing Christian, we have to look at. He calls us to an empathetic faith, to understanding the condition of the person before you make the judgment. So if I can't fully understand that, all I'm really called to do is just to act. I act. Everybody else, everything else is left up to them.
So is there any like limits to that? Because I've heard that before, where it's kind of like just do unto others or whatever without judgment. Like, is there not even just with people that we don't know, but our family members, like, is there a line to be drawn where it's like, okay.
I think there has to be a line to be drawn because I was going to bring this up. My son is in prison right now. Well, I got 2 of them in there. But they will not ever ask me for money. And I'm going to tell you why. Because they know that I'm a single mom of a child who has autism. And they know that they would never take from their brother. You know what I mean? So
real men do that.
Yeah. And
ish men don't.
Yeah. So they would never ask, even though we do send them packages and, you know, stuff like that. And, you know, now they have it where you can write online So there's no letters, you know, it's
Oh
all
yeah, the emails
and stuff like that.
sure.
And that is so much
That makes it easier.
Yeah, because we can send pictures back and forth.
Yeah.
You know, my son was addicted to heroin and
Real
overdosed
life.
twice, you know, and I don't and never will understand why he ended up going down that path because he had he had a whole village, my mom, my dad, me, you know, everybody that was there as from the time he was, you know, young to the time he grew up.
Right.
You know what I mean? But like you were saying, sometimes their brain and something is wrong with their brain that it just kind of, you know.
Trauma, like sometimes we miss what trauma does to the brain. You know what I mean? So somebody could be touched or whatever, right? And it's such a devastating way that the mind will actually shut down to where they create an alternate reality inside it because they can't live in the actual reality of what they lived in.
Yeah.
And that's schizophrenia all day. That's bipolar all day. So just on a dumbed down scale, do you know like some trauma is so traumatic that a person cannot remember the traumatic experience, right?
Oh, yeah.
But still feel the stress from it.
Yeah.
So that's when you got psychotherapists that have to go in, dig it out, find out what it is and stuff like that. So what the brain is innately doing is it's protecting the body from self-destruction because it knows that it will either have an aneurysm or whatever.
Hi,
you know what I
Diana.
mean?
Yeah.
But it's just one of those things. And see, and that's goes back to like even with your son, we may not understand the full aspect of why he chose what he chose, but trust and believe that there's a root, there's a problem, there's something that he is self-medicating, you know what I'm saying, because there's something that went on. Like nobody knows, like I didn't even know, and sometimes we can't articulate the struggles that we had. Like I struggle with abandonment. Like I got real life abandonment issues, you know. I remember standing on my mom's doorstep at 2:00 in the morning, knocking on her door. I'm knocking on it. She comes to the door and she's on the other side of the door crying, telling me she's not going to let me in.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And my father, who was supposed to protect me all my life, was the one that was beating the hell out of me. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So like,
But
okay, real quick.
go ahead. No, it's real good. Keep going.
No, and what I'm saying is it created an idea of abandonment that I didn't even know that's what it was. I just thought this was life. This was my struggle. It is what it is. And I created solutions. So once I found out that abandonment was the real struggle, then I was able to do what? Able to find out what it is and how I can, what I want to say, mitigate the problem. So you never really know what it is until it's really exposed. But the issue is that it's never really exposed in our communities, in the Hispanic, in the Black communities, even in white communities.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, because if you show any signs of weakness, or if you even begin to talk
That's
about
a
it, then it's
solidifier.
like, oh, suck it up. You supposed to be strong as a woman and as a man. It's like, no, suck it up. Put your big girl drawers on. That's what they say. And
But
it's like,
I've noticed I did that the other day to my son who is autistic, and I had to like back myself up and say, hey, that wasn't a right thing to do,
yeah,
because he
Who
was
has the humility to do that though? Like I do that all the time with my daughter, and I really have to like humble myself and go back in her room and be like, all right, I was wrong. You know what I mean? But like a lot of parents, they think that they have to be so chest out, like this is what it is, that they can't go in there and say, you know what, I messed up.
Yeah.
Because
Can't
what
be
we do is we
vulnerable.
put capes.
Yeah.
We put capes on our parents, and then when they mess up, then it's the end of the world. They don't love me, or how dare they do such and such and such. When in
Well,
reality, they're human too.
well, with
Yeah.
him, it's he don't know how to communicate because of his autism. So for him to actually come out of his room and say, hey, this is going on, this hurts me, and then I'm like, suck it up, you know,
Right,
I had to go back in there and be like, I messed up, that was my fault, you know.
Yeah.
And may it been something very little that we as adults would never think that is a problem, but to him it was a problem because he don't ever come out. Like he never comes out of his room. Like actually yesterday was actually one of the first times he actually sat down and watched half of a movie with me. And I literally mean it that like half. And then he's like, okay, Mom, I'm done. And went back in his room and was playing his games and, you know, stuff like that. You know,
That's big development though.
it is
Especially for autism.
I do that now with people. All right, I'm done
These
watching
are
this.
fast.
You ladies have any questions?
Nope.
You know,
I did at first. It was. Why did you wanted to bring the community or program thing to Kansas City?
Because I'm born and raised in Kansas City. I'm from the 50s. I'm from 64130. That's at one point in time we ran the murder rate in Kansas City, and I lived inside of
That's my area code right now.
it. In 2006, we did. You know what I mean? I think it was like
And
5 and 6.
and that's a shame because I hear this all the time when I tell people where I live right now, and they're like, "You're in the ghetto," but to me, it's not the ghetto. I was born in California and raised in, El
See, that's
Monte.
conditioning because you're in the ghetto. Facts.
Okay, but
What side of this? What side? Wait a minute. Let's qualify this. Let's qualify this. I'm not going to call it ghetto, right? Because the term is so broad, right? It could be everybody's definition of ghetto is
it's
not gonna be
different.
the same,
Yeah,
right?
it's different.
But we're not going to say by far that it is suburbia.
I live off of
Right.
55th in Indiana.
I grew up on 57th in Michigan. You're in the hood.
See, and I don't see it as the hood because, like I said,
You come
I'm from California,
Right.
where we had to eat and sleep and play on the floor.
Mm-hmm.
Like literally, the couches were brand new from the time I was little to the time I grew up and moved out. Like because nobody ever sat. Even now, my son sits on the floor and sleeps on the floor, and I keep telling him, "No, we're in a safe place. You can sleep on the bed." But he's so used to it that. That was everyday life, and we didn't see that it was wrong. Like we even cooked on the floor,
Right.
like chopping vegetables and stuff like
But
that.
that's and see, we lived that life for so long that we think it's normal. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So for a long time, when I went away, my daughter's mother, she had to put in some work because this is what we do as doughboys. We take care of these women, or we stand up for these women. We fill in the gap for these women for so long, and then when we're gone, they got to figure it out on their own. And what my daughter's mom did, she went and figured it out. You know what I mean? And caught some felonies along the way. You know what I mean? And my daughter was in some precarious situations, but what ended up happening was they just been moving around. I'm gonna just say that because first of all, I'm not down in my BM because she's a fighter. She gets it done. You know what I'm saying? But life is real. You know what I mean? It happens to the best of us. So I had my daughter, and I would realize that she would always get dressed in the bathroom. Like, you have a whole room. Why are you getting dressed in the bathroom? Because she's so used to moving around at that phase in her life. There was a point that that's what she was just used to. So we had to break it. I mean, I had to make her realize like this isn't normal.
Yeah.
And we normalize poverty, and then what ends up happening is we live in it for so long that we become scared to step outside of it and do something different. And we make justifications for it. We'll say, well, that ain't just how I live. That ain't my life.
Right.
You're accepting mediocrity when the world has opportunity for greatness, and it's just up the street. You know what I mean? It's not like it's 10 miles away. It's just
Do
Out
you
of
know
your
how
reach.
many times I can't even count how many times people from Kansas City always ask me why I moved here? Why? You've asked me that.
Right.
Yeah. Why when you from California? Well, one, the economy. Two,
Facts. We're definitely.
I met some lady like not too long ago, right after I moved here, and I was suffering from breast cancer, and she was a dancer, I was a dancer, and I kind of got pushed into opening my dance studio way before I was ready to. I mean, in this time I've had 2 surgeries since my opening of my studio, but it has made me stronger, and it has brought me these young ladies and other kids that I work with in the foster care system.
Right.
If I would have waited 2 years from now that I'm better, I don't think that I would have had those same opportunities.
Right.
You know.
Definitely. But to answer her question, to dive off into her question to finish it, she asked me why I chose to do it in Kansas City, right? It's because, we're wrapping it up, right?
Yeah.
Okay. It's because the fact that I did so much to my community. I really, I was out there tripping. You know what I mean? I sold dope to my community. I hindered my community. I was like a terrorist to my community. I did all of this to people's grandmothers and moms and dads and all this type of stuff. And it, in the end, trickles down and affects you guys. You know what I mean? So now this is my opportunity to turn around and give back to a community that I did so much destruction to. So now I'm trying to build what I helped destroy.
See, so there you go. And you guys will be working with him as well because we're working together. And maybe when you guys get older, you guys can, as we get older, take our place in the community
Absolutely.
and help other
Exactly.
kids. You know what I mean? So that's why I brought you guys, so you guys can all.
You guys are blessed.
Yes.
We wasn't doing this when I was your age.
Okay.
Like,
Right.
This is dope.
So
Y'all are blessed.
I would like
real.
to actually have you guys back, just because we didn't touch up on all of the stuff that we needed to touch up
Sure.
on.
For sure.
So we'll get together and see when we can come back and, you know, talk about more programs that we're going to be working together, and
For sure.
you know, we'll put it out there. The
Stage play.
stage play. When is that?
Love is not a feeling, it's a choice. The date is not disclosed yet. We're going to have a disclosing date. Don't forget about the pop-up that is going to be at Soiree on
December
18th
3rd.
and Vine, December 3rd.
Nice.
Make sure you are out there to see what
Free
we
of
are
charge.
releasing. And it's free.
Yeah, you just walk up in there.
Nice.
Straight up.
All right. Well, thank you guys for tuning
Thank
in.
you so much.
If we did not answer all your questions, we will go back on the live and answer them when you guys post the questions, because it will bing and let you know, and you guys can go on as well and answer the questions I can't answer.
For sure.
Awesome.
All right. And thank you guys for watching,
Thank
and
you
we'll
so
be
much
back
for the
next week.
opportunity.
They said
You
bye.
gotta